there are a lot of people that leave the church and they will look you square in the face with a big smile on their face. They just got off of their boat on a Sunday and had a good time with friends. And they said, "What
Yeah.
are you talking about, man? Like, I'm super happy. I am like, I have more money. I have more time to spend with my family. We now go do nature church instead of churchy church. And
Right.
we, it's like life's good now. Like I'm way less stressed, less worried about all these, you know, what kind of clothes are my daughter wearing and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. Like life is good, man. I'm happy. Like, why are you telling people that leaving the church is like the end of the world if at the end of the day it leaves me pretty happy?
It's a really good question. In fact, yesterday, a friend from high school discovered the Light and Truth letter that I wrote it and messaged me on my private Facebook and said, I've been out of the church for 3 years and I'm infinitely happier, uh, healthier, well off. It's kind of like, what right do you have to tell people what to do with their lives and resources and all that? And this is probably the question that's troubled me the most over the years, and maybe why I didn't write this sooner, because it genuinely seems to me that there are some people who leave the church and they're happier. I don't question that. I genuinely think there are people who leave and they're better off, they're happier at whatever the case is. I don't think it's true on the aggregate, but it seems anecdotally to be true in some instances. And so what right do I have to try to persuade people to stay in the church when it's just a personal choice and it might be better for some people or worse for others? I think that's in fact, every day writing the Light and Truth letter, I thought about this question. Like, why should I write this if it's just good for some people and not good for others? And there are two experiences. I'm going to treat them like examples or they're not analogies, but that kind of helped me answer this question finally that it's been troubling me for years. Uh, One is I interacted with a gentleman from work who, in his early 30s, his wife had a brain aneurysm, and one day to the next, vegetable. She's gone. She's alive, but she's for all intents and purposes, she's gone. And he's now in his 60s. She's still alive. And so in his early 30s, he had to care for his children, provide, and take care of his wife, and did that for decades. And and I thought about this gentleman as I thought about this question. It's like, what could he have done to have been happier? Flee to Mexico, right? Wouldn't that been like better for him, right? If he just bounced, just left. Again, we could have an argument about responsibility and all that, but wouldn't have he been better off? Wouldn't have he been happier had he just left? A different example, kind of similar story. A spouse has a spouse that gets into a car accident, gets hooked on drugs. Now they're a drug addict. And this person that I know of didn't divorce their spouse. They stuck it out, even though there was abuse and like all these terrible, awful things. The reason I share these two examples is because I do think people could be happier if they leave the church. I think that's true. I don't think it's universally true, but I think it can be true.
Mm-hmm.
But society and your family will not be better off. In both examples, the father, if he would have left, everyone around his situation, his wife, his kids, family, their community, their government, all would have been worse off. So he would have been better at the expense of the community and everyone else around him. And so I don't doubt that some people are happier when they leave the church, but I significantly doubt that leaving the church as a practice, like what critics are trying to do, is a net benefit to their families, to their society. It's like littering is easy and convenient to do. It would be really nice to just litter. I don't have to like carry trash with me and do any of that. I'd be much happier if I could litter, but I don't want to live in a society of litterers. That would be a net negative for me and my community and my family. And so this is an answer to this question I only recently got. And this is literally years I've been thinking about this. I mean, just pondering and turning this over and over and over. So yes, I think some people are happier when they leave, but I'm not convinced their communities, their family, and their descendants are going to be happier because they left the church.
So you've nailed something that I think so many people don't realize, and it is so important. There's a stake president at BYU Hawaii. He was the stake president when I got married. He ended up becoming a mission president. He's one of the greatest guys in the world. If anyone knows who Arthur Hanneman is, just know he's one of my absolute heroes in life.
Shout out Arthur Hanneman.
Yeah, Arthur Hanneman. And he was one of the most Christ-like people I've ever met. I mean, one of those people that just like, I honestly kind of like wondered, like, is he really like, I don't know if he's like on the same plane as me, right? This guy secretly like some translated being or something.
Yeah.
Had 8 sons. And if you guys ever eaten at the Seven Brothers burger franchise, that's their family that did it. But anyway, they have on their restaurants these rules that they had in their house that their mom and dad, and they'd like kind of tell stories about what their mom and dad would teach them as kids. And one of the first things they taught them was, it's not all about you. And we had to wait and maybe go, hey, wait a minute. Maybe your life isn't all about you. Maybe it doesn't matter what works for you. Okay. Maybe you're not the center of the universe. And in fact, what if actually the way to really find the deepest satisfaction in life, not fleeting pleasure, but real deep, meaningful satisfaction in your life, is to live for something that's bigger than you? What if you being the center is actually a road to misery? Because there are people who have literally suffered horrible things and died, I think, genuinely happy deep down because they were living for something bigger than themselves. Yeah. Because things like honor and truth and beauty and goodness were more important even than their very lives. It's like, if you don't have something you're willing to die for, then you don't have something that's bigger than you in life. And you're going to be miserable without that.
Yeah.
And so I think you're making a huge point there, but there's another thing that's unique to Latter-day Saint theology. Again, as we kind of put these pieces together and you realize, man, like, there's some profound things in this.
Right.
We teach that there are different degrees of glory. I believe that people who live outside the church can attain a level of happiness at a terrestrial level that we describe as an incomprehensible, not, I mean, incomprehensible, but a weight of glory and happiness that is like worth dying for. Again, it's
we want for them exactly what they want. Exactly.
And so there is a level of happiness that you can attain outside the church. I have no doubt about it. But what if we didn't cap it? What if we said that if you follow the Savior, if you give yourself entirely to him and you don't like I always tell people this, God is trying to take you as far as you will let him take you. And frankly, I'm very happy when people make progress in any direction, even outside the church.
Yeah.
I applaud that. But I say, but is there a higher level? Is there a highest level that works for you, for your children, for your family, for your community, across all generations of time? Is there a transcendent order and truth that is ideal that we can strive for? That's the celestial order.
Yeah.
And that order is only found when you go to the Lord and you say, I'm yours. I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'm not going to cap it. And that is, in my opinion, that's what it means to be saved, to be freed from damnation that we impose upon ourselves. We take the Lord's hand and say, where are we going? I'll go wherever you want. My will is swallowed up in yours. And the celestial kingdom is the kingdom of people that it isn't the perfect people. It's the people that have made that commitment. And they've said, I'm not giving up on that commitment. And so they will enter into a glory that is unlimited, right? Because they won't put a cap on it. And so I look at people that are happy outside the church and I say, that's great. But is there something bigger? Is there, and I think that's the difference between maybe when we talk about happiness versus joy. I believe people can be happy, but I believe true joy is found in unshackling yourselves from anything less than the divine, than Christ's nature itself. And so and it's such a beautiful theology, because I can genuinely look across at someone like Trent Horn was debating or other people in other religions, and I can be like, man, that's awesome. I love these things about your faith because they bring you higher.
Yeah.
They're genuinely lifting you. You are experiencing the Spirit of the Lord. You're experiencing good things.
Yeah, Latter-day Saints are so weird in that way. Like we just are cheering on everyone. Like we're so happy when somebody is able to attain more light and truth. And while people accuse us of being really arrogant, right? We're super open to like any form of truth. I don't know what can be more humble than having this openness and willingness to learn. And that's the hallmark of Latter-day Saints and our theology from the beginning with Joseph Smith.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so my future videos show up on your feed. Also, if you or someone that you know has benefited from the content here on Thoughtful Faith, please consider becoming a channel donor or volunteer by visiting my new website, thoughtfulfaith.org, and clicking on the Get Involved page.